If you're in Washington Plan 3, you've got a choice to make between using the WSIB fund or going self-directed. What does it all mean? How do they compare and which one should you use? Well, I'll be discussing in today's video. So if you're someone in Plan 3, doesn't matter if it's SIRS, TERS, or PERS, your pension system ends with a 3, then your money is going to an investment account. This is known as your defined contribution plan. It's kind of like a 401k that you're saving into, and you'll be able to withdraw down the road. The important thing to understand here is it's up to you to choose what investments you want. By default, you're going either one of two ways. Either you're going to a WSIB fund if you're hired prior to 2013 by default, or you're going into a target date fund if you've signed up after 2015. Depending on where you're at, whether you've never logged in a day in your life before, your money is actually being invested somewhere. Now, the WSIB is Washington State Investment Board. It's essentially a private fund that's managed by Washington State's Investment Board, and they choose the investments within there. There is thousands upon thousands of investments, and if you pull the PDF print, because it is all public, it just goes on and on and on. It's hundreds and hundreds of pages, all the different ticker symbols that they've got. So they have all sorts of public stocks options. They've got private equity, which is probably the hardest thing to track because it's private. You can't really track the price. So it's really hard for outside sources for you to track the investment performance of a WSIB until they release their quarterly report. So that WSIB fund, it is on the aggressive side of things. It's got real estate, private equity. So when the market does well, it can do well. But when the market goes south, it can follow suit. For example, back in 2020, we had a dip in the marketplace, and then it rebounded where that one just kind of went down, came back up a little bit, and still ended negative. It doesn't always track the market exactly or even outperform it, but long term, it has done okay. The thing is to understand is that it is of the more aggressive side. If you want something a little safer or you just want to pick your own allocations, you can go with what they call self-directed. Self-directed means you're going to choose the investments. A lot of people get kind of freaked out here because they know nothing about investing. They think it's this really big deal and it's really difficult. Fact is, it's not. They actually make it pretty simple. They only have 7 options. So it's not like you have to go through pages and pages and pages trying to pick stocks or anything like that. They're just simple funds. And a fund has hundreds of stocks inside of it. So you should have to decide, hey, do I want to hold S&P 500? Then you go large cap. Then you're inside of S&P 500. You own all 500 of the companies inside there just by checking that one box. Then you've got, the small caps, short-term interest, which is they call their cash fund, Washington bond fund, things like that. So choosing it in self-directed isn't really as difficult as it sounds, but you still have to have some idea of where your money is going. So I don't think you can necessarily lose it all unless the markets tank on you. But if you're trying to maximize the value based on where you are in your career, what your goals are, you want to have a specific blend of the different 7 funds inside of there. To make this easier, I do have a service where that's what I do. I give you guys the exact investment models based on your risk preference, so you know exactly which funds to choose and when to make changes to it. So if you want more information on that service, the link is in the description below. All right, so that's the difference between the two of them. And other things to know is that the WSIB fund is where they actually will transfer money out of if you decide to purchase the TAP annuity. So if you want to buy the TAP annuity, money goes typically into the WSIB fund, from there into the TAP annuity account. If your money is in self-directed and you buy the TAP annuity, you technically have to transfer it into WSIB and then go into the TAP annuity. It's my understanding of how that process works. Now, if you do not want or don't plan on buying the TAP annuity, leaving money in self-directed is completely fine. And if you just decide you want to transfer money out in retirement for withdrawals or you want to move it somewhere else, self-directed is the side you want to be on, mainly because it's easier to access your money. Inside self-directed, you can get a check or withdraw money or transfer it within a week or so. So it's a pretty simple process. Fill out the paperwork online, hit submit, and the money will usually change hands fairly quickly. That is not the case if your money is inside of WSIB. And this is the biggest thing I change for people when they are approaching retirement if we don't plan on buying the TAP annuity. So in WSIB, in order to get your money out, because it's a specialized fund, right, there's a little private equity, they have to unwind it. The shares of that WSIB account only liquidates once a month, which is the 28th of every month. So if it is currently, say, the 11th of the month, and I want to take a withdrawal because I'm retired, I need a couple $1,000 out to go do something with, and if my money's in WSIB, I would submit it now on the 11th, but the money would still be invested and going up and down for the rest of the month. Nothing would happen at all until the 28th, and that's when they finally will process the sell order. That's at that point. So even though it's the 11th I put my order in, nothing's going to happen for quite some time. The market can, either go up more or down, and you just have to sell it on the 28th, regardless of what it's at. Now, after it sells, it has to sit in a holding account for another 30 days or full month. So now I have to wait another month on top of that. And then the following month, on the second or third day of the month, is when it actually becomes liquid or gets sent out. So if I was expecting a check from these guys on the 11th, I probably wouldn't get it for another 45, 50 days out. Use of your money is probably past at that point. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that if you plan on taking money out, WSIB is the last place you want to be because it's so illiquid. It's designed for accumulation. It's a good place if you plan on purchasing top annuity. It is not good for income distribution retirement. So if you plan on leaving money in Plan 3, just move it from the WSIB fund into self-directed. It'll save you a lot of headaches down the road. And that same timeline applies when you decide to move from WSIB to self-directed. You still have to wait that same time period of processing the 28th, the 30-day hold, and then processing over, which means for a period of 30, 35, 40, even 60 days, depending on when you hit the sell button, your money isn't moving hardly at all. So that 30 days, you're earning no interest, and it just sits in that holding account. So just some things to keep in mind when deciding where to invest your Plan 3 funds. If you want more information on Plan 3 and all of your Washington State retirement benefits, there's a link in the description below to my free Washington community. I've got courses and downloads inside of there to help support your retirement journey. It is free to join, so click that link and I'll see you guys there. And always remember that your future depends on what you do today.